that you'll find in most of our, not just rural communities, but really all over. And I want to give reference to air property from this perspective as an example. I don't know if there may be a person in the audience that can relate to what I'm talking about, either online or in person, and where you have, as a child, maybe coming up, and I've been around for a while, and I'm from a family of 11 children, so 11 siblings, and I'm the youngest. And coming along, during that time period, so when I talk about prosperity community and the importance of working together from a prosperity community perspective, and I want to only use this sort of as an example that when you don't work together, both from an air property standpoint as well as from a prosperity community perspective. Now, if any of you have ever heard the saying and coming up as a child, and you know how siblings can be. And my brother and myself was, just one thing after the other, and they say, okay, y'all better play together and cut that out, okay? Don't do this and don't do that. It's okay. If I have to come deal with you, then both of you gonna pay for it, right? Yeah. So you heard that saying before, right? Okay, so you heard that saying that, all right, if you don't work together, if y'all can't play together, okay, in other words, the consequences are gonna be on both ends because you won't play together. You won't play together. As sisters and brothers or as siblings, you can't play together. You can't just be happy together, working together. Well, from this perspective, I just want to use that as an example, and those of you who may be able to relate to it from a real life perspective. Now, the consequences behind that, if my sibling and myself, if we could not be obedient and work together, and based on what the rules were, here's the rules or the possibilities in relation to the game. You either work together or you play together and be happy, and everything goes well, or the consequences are otherwise, okay? In other words, most of you are going to be at a disadvantage. Same thing when you're talking about prosperity communities. Communities that work together, not necessarily just that same community, but when you can put communities with that can be contiguous to each other, are not so contiguous to each other, but working together, then that means prosperity can be for all. And not working together are creating, focusing on that, from a economic development perspective, that means that all communities may not possibly get the benefit of what is available to them to the maximum extent possible. So I just wanted to use that as an example, and those who may be able to relate to it from childhood coming. I'm talking about the old days. Now, I know some of you young folks here, y'all can relate to any of that. Y'all don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyway, we have some in the audience know exactly what I'm talking about. So air property is the same way, and I'm answering the questions you have in relation to that. Same example from a prosperity community perspective. Basically air property is where individuals may pass, one generation may pass on, and they do not leave a will as relation to what the wishes are for their family. End results behind that. Then you have undivided interest, and you have multiple family members, or maybe multiple siblings that may be involved. Just say it's the next generation. When you fail to work together, in that process for planning for the future or dealing with the property itself in the manner where it may be most beneficial for those individuals who have inherited. Same thing back to the childhood when you don't play together and deal with what the rules are as it relates to how you need to get along. Then the air property is going to be the disadvantage, and everyone involved in the process of being a part of air property in the dispute, it hurts everybody. So another example, and I just like to reflect on that because again, I can relate to it from my childhood. Sometimes they say you have to look at lessons from the past and relate to things that you're dealing with at the present, particularly in an attempt to try to communicate to the importance of what's before us now and how we can best utilize both the resources we have available to us and the most beneficial approach for doing that. I'm going to move ahead with the agenda itself, and the next one on the agency on our program agenda is Farm Service Agency, and that's Ms. Crum.
Yes,
Crum. Okay, Ms. Crum, Supervisor Ms. Crum, if she would come to us now, and she's going to discuss with us what Farm Service Agency has to offer. And let me say this, and we can have some discussions as it relates to both areas of Farm Service Agency. Farm Service Agency has two different divisions. If you look at it from a division perspective, that's the way I see it from division. It has a lending division that makes resources available to you from a loan perspective, and then it has the program resource service division. That means it makes available to you program resources or financing that you don't have to pay back. Now, and that's what Ms. Crump is going to be talking about from the program perspective. And if she's not prepared to deal with the lending side of it, then I'll come back and talk some about Farm Service Agency and its farm program loan side. You know, how it can be beneficial, how to access those resources and the benefit of those resources, how they can be beneficial to our local communities. Ms. Crump, I'm going to turn it over to you now. And let me just say this. We're calling this more or less a roundtable discussion, I want to have discussion, engagement, and questions asked. And of course, those of you who know me and who have seen me possibly online or in person, if the questions are not asked, then I will ask the questions. So I always have people be prepared either way. Sometimes I will ask it. It's not as better for other folks to ask me than me to ask. That's right.
Okay, all right, thank you for having me. My name is Casey Crum. I'm the County Executive Director for the Farm Service Agency for Miller, Lafayette, and Columbia County. And I mainly deal with just the program side, so I will probably have to refer back to you for the information on the loans. But we have disaster and conservation programs for farmers and ranchers, covering livestock or row crops, and that can also include fruits and vegetables. If any kind of crop or livestock has been affected by a natural disaster, we typically have a program for it. And if anyone has never signed up with us before, I would just say to contact your local Farm Service Agency office, and we would have you fill out a form where basically your name, address, and social security number will get you in our system. And whenever you were just speaking about the air property, we also normally request a deed in order to draw off your farm and the boundaries. But if the deed is not in your name, that's okay. If it is part of air property, we would just need self-certification saying that that person has control of the farming operation, and then we can accept that and put them as operator, and we can then draw off the farm. And so we do have a variety of different programs, and then some that occur every single year, and then some are just new that come out, depending on what the government comes out with. But that's just a quick overview of what we have, but typically any livestock or any kind of crop that's affected by any kind of natural disaster, and then also any kind of market disruptions, there's sometimes programs that help with that. And with our programs, you don't have to pay back any of the money, they're just direct payments. So they're not like a loan, and nobody has to pay them back from us.
So, Ms. Trump, the one program now, I don't know if we talked earlier about this, the deadline is tomorrow for those who may be raising vegetable crops.
Right, so that's for the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program, and if anyone had grown any crops like fruits or vegetables, or even had pecans,
Right.
they could certify those acres to our office by tomorrow, March 13th, and then those acres could be eligible to receive a payment from this new program. They just issued the Farmer Bridge Assistance Program.
Now and for the, I mean, and it's only, that program payment this go round, and it's only this time,
Right.
where if they get into the office tomorrow, by tomorrow, and they sign up, they're eligible to receive the benefit of those payments.
Right.
If they had vegetable crops, if they had pecan trees, anything of that nature. So it's like you can certify and you're eligible to get those payments.
Right.
Now, which is not the norm. Normally, you have to certify in advance.
That's right.
In advance in order to qualify for those payments. So, you know, all of those, anyone who, that you may either know or if you're personally involved in dealing with producing vegetables, if you have a pecan orchard or a fruit orchard or anything of that nature, then that means that tomorrow, the 13th, Friday the 13th, is the last day that individuals can go into Farm Service Agency office on the program side, sign up, you're certified, and you are qualified to receive the benefit of those program payments. And when I say sign up, you're certified, that's also going back to what she had previously stated, you know, that you must show and know that you have a farm number, a farm that you actually had grown vegetable crops on last year, where you have orchard, if it's a fruit orchard, pecan trees, or anything of this nature, that you have that description of that, and the title deeds to the property, if it's not a property situation, I'm assuming possibly a tax bill with description of the property with your name on it, then you're able to sign up and receive the benefit of those payments. And we've been talking about this for a time period. We'll publish it also. Time goes fast, but tomorrow is the deadline for that. After tomorrow, it goes away. And there's roughly some $1 billion or 1 billion that's nationally now, that's available in that particular program. It doesn't happen every year. This is a result of a continued resolution with USD. I think, yeah, it was a continued resolution on the program payments in support of agriculture producers. So I want to go to one other area, Ms. Trump, also, and this is on the program side. We talk about small farms and micro farms, and even individuals, they may consider themselves as gardeners. Now, if you are a gardener can become a farmer now. Okay, they can become a farmer, and saying if you have a half acre, an acre the size of this room, even not acre, but I mean property that's the size of this room, then you can get that particular piece of land certified as a farm. Now, in order to do that, you must have a farm number. It might be in the city or in the city limits. So if it's a lot, so if there's a lot, then you can get that lot certified as a farm and raise vegetable crops on that particular piece of property and be eligible for other program benefits, which NRCS is going to talk about. But you have to get to this stage first. You must have a farm number for that. That also comes through Farm Service Agency on the farm program side. So on the farm program side, you can go in, do what she had said earlier, as Trump said, show that you have either control of that land or that property, or you have the deeds to that land. If you have the deeds to it, where you have the tax bill and it's in your name showing the description and everything of the property, then you will be able to get a farm number. And once you get that farm number, then there are other things that you can benefit from as it relates to USDA. I don't know if we mentioned this one also, but NAP is also on this side, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. You want to talk some about that one?
Yes, so NAP is the Non-Insured Crop Disaster Assistance Program, and it provides coverage for crops that aren't covered by a crop insurance. So fruits, vegetables, grazing land, hay land. We have quite a few people who sign up for it. For the fruits and vegetables, if someone ever thinks, if they sign up for it and they think they've had a loss, we'll send an adjuster out, and he comes out, looks at your crop, and he'll do a preliminary visit, and then he'll do a final visit to see if what your production is, and to see if it would generate a payment or not. For the grazing or hay land, the grazing land, we get loss assessments from grassland specialists at the end of the grazing year, and our grazing year for mixed forage, which is typically what most people have, it's January 15th through November 15th. So after November 15th, we get assessments from grassland specialists, and if they come back and say there's above a 50% loss, then we'll issue a payment. If there's less than a 50% loss, then NAP does not pay. If someone's a beginning farmer, women, there's several different ways that you don't have to pay for NAP. The fee for NAP is normally $325 per crop, but we have beginning farmer, if someone's a recent veteran, if someone's considered limited resource, or if anyone is underserved, which includes women, then the fee is waived. And so NAP is a program that we do offer every single year, and especially if you don't have to pay for it, we always encourage anyone to sign up for it, because some years it may pay and some it doesn't, but if you don't have to pay an application fee, it's definitely worth it. If someone has any grazing or hay land or any fruits or vegetables, anything, they wouldn't be able to get insurance with, and NAP will cover that.
And, you know, we call this risk management. It's a risk management program. So basically, what you're doing, and the importance of signing up for it, particularly in situations where it's not going to cost you anything. I don't care how small the operation is, how small the farming operation is. Your investments you put into it, say, as you said, if it's more than 50% loss, if it's more than a 50% loss, then that means it's you're protecting your investment. You know, you are protecting your investment, what you put into that particular operation, no matter how large or how small it may be, in those particular crop enterprise categories. You know, when I say horticulture, vegetable crops, you know, it could be orchards, it could be pecan orchards, fruit orchards, you know, whichever. NAP does it cover hay production?
It does.
Okay,
yes.
Including hay production. I know there's a lot of livestock, you know, in this particular area. So I wanted to give reference to that. And are you going to talk about the loan side? I want to talk about that.
You can.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about the loan side with Farm Service Agency. And just to go back against when we're talking about the NAP risk management, whenever you're talking about lending, be it from the banker's perspective, from USDA, Farm Service Agency side, on the loan side, you know, they want to protect their interests to the greatest extent possible as well. So if they're making you a loan and then, you know, you're signing up for NAP, and it's not on horticulture or vegetable crops, you're talking about vegetable crop insurance, it should be automatic, you know, because it reduces the risk factor on your part as well as on the lender's part in their investment that they're doing with you as a partner, or them being an investment in supporting your particular farming operation. They have two different categories of loans with Farm Service Agency. They have the direct loan and they have the loan guarantee program. And I'm going to talk about the direct loan now and two levels of loans with the direct loan program. They have the micro loan program, and the micro loan program is up to $50,000 on the micro loan program. Now that normally fits very well with individuals, particularly if they're falling into the small micro farm category in producing vegetable crops. And these are operating loans up to $50,000. This is just on the operating loan side. Now you can also get up to $50,000 on the capital side, and that's for real estate investment. If you're going to deal with real estate, purchasing land, purchasing 2 or 3 lots or something of that nature, 2 acres or 3 acres or 4 or 5 acres of land. I don't know about 5 acres of land is pretty high now, but anyway, if it's for purchasing land, then you're talking about the capital side. So if you're dealing with the capital side, real estate loan side, that's up to $50,000 also on the micro loan program side. But in that particular lending side, for real estate, you must have been farming for at least 3 years, having at least a minimum of 3 years farming experience. So that's but for the regular, just the operating loan, up to $50,000 on the micro loan side as a beginning farmer, then that's not a criteria as far as eligibility itself is concerned. So the micro loan, $50,000 maximum, both on operating as well as the capital loan investment side with Farm Service Agency. It fits very well. It fits very well with what we call and what USDA recognized also as our Urban Agriculture Initiative. And when I say Urban Agriculture Initiative, is mostly the micro-urban farm, people who have been calling themselves gardeners and said they can now call themselves farmers and be within the city limits of Lewisville or any other particular rural town or even more urban areas. I mean, they have urban farms in New York City, Chicago, Georgia, just all over the country now. So those loans really fit well, I think, for those sides of operations, particularly starting up. Now, the other thing about that, and I'm not going to get into all the details regarding that, but if you have questions, I'm prepared to answer those questions. The security level, the bar is not as high on the security side with a micro loan. Normally, in most cases, what is offered as security and what they would take in is the crop itself, and if you're purchasing any equipment as a part of that operating loan, then that will be used as security as well. Now, I'll talk about the other loan level area, and again, the bar level is higher on that side, either of a beginning farmer or one that is an experienced farmer. So the micro loan, now, the micro loan side, if you're using part of that loan for equipment, if you're using it for equipment purposes, then you have a 7-year repayment period. That means that at the end of that growing season, that particular farm operating season, that part of the loan, if it's say out of $50,000, say $10,000 of that was used for equipment, $25,000 was used for equipment purposes, and then $25,000 was used for operating purposes, then the $25,000 that was used for equipment does not have to be paid at the end of that particular farm season. All of it does not. That again, you amortize that out over a period of 7 years as far as payment of the equipment side for the operating loan. The other $25,000, of course, at the end of the farming season is all due at the end of the farming season of that particular farm year itself. The other level of loan with Farm Service Agency on the direct loan side is operating loan, and again, the real estate or capital loan as well. For the operating loan, the maximum is $400,000. That's the max for the operating loan, either as a beginning farmer or as an experienced farmer. $400,000 for the operating loan side. On the capital or real estate loan side, if you have been farming at least 3 years, and I'm just going to say as an example, you've been dealing with it as a microloan farmer for a 3-year period of time, and you want to expand and become a larger type farming operation, or a diversified farming operation more, that you're going to engage in, say, livestock and vegetable production and things of that nature. And so you're gonna have to purchase some land. And along with upping the operating cost side of your farming. Now, let me say, in all cases, these farm business plans must cash flow. And cash flow is a determination of your ability to repay that loan. And of course, we like to develop those farm business plans. Not only are they developed in a fashion where you repay the loan, but you develop those plans in a manner, of course, based on market and everything else, as well as other risk factors that are involved. We develop those plans with a cash flow with an intent of not only showing the ability to repay the loan, but also to show a margin of profitability as well, over and beyond just paying off all the costs and everything that went into it. So, excuse me for that. So that's the direct loan. That's the other level of direct loan with Farm Service Agency, both for operating purposes as well as for the capital investment side for land purchase. And I know, as I'm going through all this conversation and what I'm discussing and talking about here, you can rest assured I have backup. Because I know anything that I get wrong, anything of a misstatement that I have that is not correct, I have a person sitting right in front of me that has the right information, and he's a farm advisor specialist that really knows all this stuff better than I do. And that's Mr. Tucker right here. Not only is he our IT guy, but he's also the farm advisor and specialist that deals with developing these farm business plans. The other loan side, I'm not going to talk about this one as much so, but I will advise you from this perspective, is the loan guarantee program with USDA Farm Service Agency. And that, the loan guarantee, you must have a direct lender, a bank. You must have a bank. So any bank that you're working with or you're going to work with, then that bank would develop the application. You will not be FSA customer. The bank would be Farm Service Agency customer. So you would go to the bank would make you the loan, and Farm Service Agency can guarantee that loan up to 90%. So they can guarantee 90% of that loan. That's the security basis. Then the bank is holding, in addition, and of course in most cases, in addition to other security that they would require. And of course the bank, they have their requirements. And I'm going to say, in certain cases, banks may say, well, we must have at least 145% security, 125% security, and maybe even more. But then out of that security, still they will layer that again with a guarantee, giving them, more security point, along with, any other, be it real property or chattel, equipment and things of that nature, or livestock, that will serve as security for that particular loan that you're making with the bank. That's the guarantee loan program area. I'm not going to get into the maximum dollar figure portion of that because I may quote the wrong maximum dollar figure that they do on that loan, but I do know it's in excess of $1 million on the operating side as well as on the capital side. And that's for some some farming operations, even at 1.5 or 1 point plus or even more. So as a loan based on cost and what it is now for the farmers, those are not large loans really. It costs a lot to run those sizable farming operations, just in the equipment itself alone. So I think that's most of everything for me to talk about as it relates to the Farm Service Agency, USDA farm program resources that's available to you, and we're prepared to answer any questions both on the program side as well as on the farm lending side with USDA. I know if any of my other staff that may be online as well, they would probably say I'm taking up everybody's time plus my own time, but I'm going to now, keeping with the program agenda, I'm going to go to the active question from Mr. Tucker, and then we're going to come back to Farm Service Agency. I'm supposed to have meals now. I'll wait a while and go ahead and go with Farm Service.
It's 11:55.
Is it 11:55?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's, y'all gonna take a quick break. I'll drink some water. You see, I was kind of getting a little bit dry there. We're gonna take a quick break here, for everyone. Have a little lunch. We'll come back and be right back with you. All of those that are online, if y'all can give us about 35, 40 minutes. We're gonna take a break here, have lunch, and we'll continue with Farm Service Agency along with Arkansas Department of Agriculture, and what they have to offer from a resource perspective, both from an agriculture perspective as well as on the marketing side. Now, the good part about this, the fact that we're going to break for lunch right now, we've had some other USDA, NRCS resource people come in, and I'm sure the ones from the president say, well, I'm sure happy about that. Okay, all those audience, we'll be right back. Give us about 30 minutes, and we're going to have a short lunch break, and we'll be back to continue with the workshop activities. Thank you very much.
Partners and resource providers include our Dr. King here, USDA Farm Service Agency, and you're getting ready to hear USDA Natural Resources Conservation Services, Rural Development, would be from our own DOC, and the Department of Agriculture and Education. He will explain that later. But as we have said, these agencies provide essential programs, technical assistance, and funding opportunities that support new and beginning farmers, landowners, and rural entrepreneurs. So, thank you for asking. I will tell you our goal is to connect you with the resources, information, and partnerships that can help strengthen agriculture, support economic development, and empower our rural communities. So, get ready for Kennard Williams.
I see he's gonna throw me under the bus.
Oh, I am so sorry. Kennard, thank you so much for that.
I'm the support, I'm support.
Okay, well, great.
So all the questions are taken.
That is why we're all here, for this support each other, connect.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So thank you. What up, you?
All right, so my name is Kelly Conlon. I am the soil conservation technician here in Lewisville. I cover Lafayette and Columbia County. And you see me looking down at my phone, I've kind of got a list of things, so I don't leave nothing out. First up, we've got what we call EQIP. EQIP stands for Environmental Quality Incentive Program. So, and Kennard might come kick me whenever I say this, but the way I like to explain EQIP is more standard for your bigger projects, your starting projects like your fences, your watering systems, anything of that nature. It's kind of just to get your foot in the door, kind of to get your farm established, get it started, kind of get to where you want to be so you can start actually managing it the way you want to manage it. Down the line we have CSP, Conservation Stewardship Program. CSP is what I like to call more of your management style. It's gonna be more of your management practices that you do every day, something just kind of keep that farm rolling all the time. So as far as eligibility goes on being eligible for our programs, so you have to be an agricultural producer to be eligible. The land has got to be private land as far as the land eligibility. And if you've dealt with us in the past, you know, I'd say the same thing all the time. State office keeps sending us paper, we keep printing applications. So you come in, you sign them, fill them out, we'll get you in the system. First thing first is you have to get a farm number, as they talked earlier. Get your farm number, get your record established, and then you can come back and you can apply for any of our programs. And the reason we do that is so that way, when you come in and sign up, you're not just putting your name on paper that we don't know who you are, what land unit we're associating you with. When you come and sign up, you already have your farm records established. We know that you're coming, okay, this producer signed up under forestry or CAFO, which is your chickens and or pasture, row crop, and so on and so forth. So I've already covered kind of how EQIP works. So our programs are cost share programs. And what I mean by that, a lot of people will come in and say, oh, well, it's going to cost this much to get this done, but y'all are only going to pay this much. We're not meant to pay 100% of the cost of actually getting the product implemented onto your property. We have this, I think it's right now, it's like 75%. Kennard can back me. He gave me the nod, so I did good on that one. But it's like right around 75% of what we try to pay back as far as what you invest into it. And we do have stuff, category, we call it HU, it's historically underserved. And what that, you can fall under that as beginning farmer, you can fall under that as like a veteran, if you're a veteran, you can fall under that. Socially disadvantaged, those are a couple different categories, and all that's self-certification. So I'm not going to question you about it. You come in, you fill out the application. If that's how if you say that you fall under one of those, that's the end of the story. I'm not going to question you about it down the road. That will bump it to, I believe, 90%. I got the nod again, so I'm doing pretty good today.
We take flat cost, but it averages about 90%.
Yeah, so about if you come in and you fall under one of those HU categories, then you could qualify up to a 90%. I got to say payback rate. Let's see. So how do I apply for EQIP is what I've got next on my list, and that's kind of one of my main things I want to hit on. And I have cards that I will pass out, and I'll give to you if you want to, however you want to broadcast those. Call us. You can come in and see us. You can call us. All you have to do, like I said, is get those farm records. Once you have your farm records established, then you can come in and fill out the application. Once you fill out the application, you'll probably, if you come into my counties, you'll hear from me. I'll call you, I'll schedule a farm visit, we'll come out and I'll meet with you. We'll look over what you got, we'll talk about your plans, how you really want your farm to look, and we'll write a plan that best fits you and what you have. I believe that is all I've got. Now there is some of our practices that we cover, you know, I know there's some familiar faces in here that's dealt with us in the past, but like for our pasture, let's just use that as an example, you know, cross fencing. We can help with, if you want barbed wire, you want net wire, cross fencing is something that we offer. Watering systems, whether that be the watering lines, the water troughs, that's something we use. We do a lot of grass planting, a lot of soils testing, nutrient applications, herbicide applications. So if there's something more or less that you're doing already, you can almost bet that we have a program open for it.
I'm gonna say a couple things to Ms. King. I didn't want to do this thunder, so I'm prepared and everything.
I'm prepared.
I will mention a couple things. On the EQIP, you mentioned the EQIP program, Environmental Quality Center program. We do currently have a special pilot project, which is the regenerative pilot program, and it's focusing on soil health. So that's also under EQIP. under Environment Quality Incentive Program is one. Also, the Conservation Stewardship Program. We used to do is enhance things that's already there on your property. It changed a little bit this year. It went from enhancements to actual practices. So that's one key component that can change under that program, but that program is still available, still here, along with the RPP, which is the Generative Pilot Program. So, and it just focuses on soil health. So those are two programs that some changes came this year for 2026. But everything else was spot on. He did a great job. It was spot on. The eligibility, explain the eligibility with FSA, and that's where we start. I always want our locals, because he will be in Lewisville taking care of customers here. I cover the whole state of Arkansas. So I always want them to put the face, you know, when they come in the office, they can put the face with, okay, I can talk to him, you know, and to cover my county. But I cover the whole state, because what I will do, get the information and see which county, and then I will actually forward it to that county. But I can always provide the information to you, but I always like to have a local on hand to provide that information. And I just wanted to add that. That's the only thing. He's done a great job. I'm not going to take the thunder. He did a great job.
Well, I have two questions. The conservation easement, has there been any changes to the conservation easement program?
Far as I know, it hadn't been any. Now, the rate change, I don't know. I had that question yesterday, and I do have that out. Check that out. I'm waiting on a response back on the actual rates.
Per acre.
Per acre rates. So I'm waiting on that information. But it's still available.
So as of now, the non-irrigated is, I think it was 3,200?
I'm not gonna quote it in pricing on that.
Okay,
I'm not gonna quote it, everything can change and everything can change, so, like I said, I'm waiting on that information to get back, and as soon as I get that information, I'll definitely make sure ALCDC receive it, so you can put it out to the customer.
Yeah.
Because non-irrigated is one price, and irrigated is a different price.
Right.
And it is different, but I'm not gonna quote those prices, so.
Now, you know, one thing we talked about is two of the areas that I just want to give reference to, because we talked about it some earlier. One is on the program side, you know, with FSA, the farm number, and of course, you have to have that in order to get the benefits of NRCS program resources. We didn't talk about it, because I said I would maybe ask the question, is that partnership with NRCS, with FSA, with the Conservation Reserve Program. So the CRP, now, you all work more on the program side with NRCS in developing the plans for the Conservation Reserve Program.
That's right. Yeah, NRCS typically goes out and has the farm visit, and then they create a conservation plan. But then we actually enter it in the system, and so if somebody wanted to sign up for a CRP, they would first come to us and submit an application. But then we do work hand in hand with NRCS to fulfill that application.
And you all actually make the payments on the CRP.
That's right.
That's correct.
On the per acre, what's the per acre on CRP for this area now on average?
Whenever I last looked at it, the rates have typically been lower because we actually don't have any CRP in Lafayette County
That's
right
right, you
now.
have a lot of chicken and pork.
Right,
Yeah.
and we only have two CRP in Miller County, right?
Okay.
But there are, because other offices, their rates may be 2 or 3 times higher than around here.
Yeah.
So,
It's most of it.
but we do have that sign up going on now. If anyone's interested, they can definitely contact our office and we can let them know what we have to offer for it.
The other question I had, in particular for the audience purposes, you know, we were talking earlier about the USDA Urban Agriculture Initiative, which is more focused on micro, smaller farms and urban agriculture. And I know we talked about, you discussed EQIP, you know, the Environmental Quality Incentive Program from the, sounds more like production agriculture, if you're dealing with either livestock, particular livestock, you know, water system, cross fencing, grass planting. I'm assuming the recommendation on those plants are perennial grasses that you all.
Yeah, so kind of talking about your urban stuff, and Kennard probably has a lot more experience with urban than I do, because we just don't have very much urban here. But we do have programs open for that, like, micro irrigation
Right.
and stuff like that. Like, we have, hoop houses, which is basically like greenhouses.
Right.
We do have programs open available right now well, I say right now. The deadline for this year was back in January, but we still can accept applications for those. But as far as actually being able to go in and deal with them hands-on, I don't have very much experience with them.
But all those falls.
All of falls underneath.
Underneath.
All underneath it.
Yeah. all-
And those practices, as you're talking about for small and urban farm, all those practices are still there under equip. So, and any of that changed, so those practices are still there, they still can apply for them. We start looking at high tunnels, micro irrigation, the, rotational grazing, I mean, that's for the pasture, but for the rotational, crop rotation and mulching,
Crop rotation. mulching.
plastic mulch,
Yeah.
the rolls, for the
Right.
rolls, so all that is still there in those practices, and they also have the, like, the rain catch that comes off of those high tunnels, that they can turn around and reuse that
Right.
water as
Right.
rainwater, so we do have that practice as well under that for small urban, conservation, but even though you may not see a lot of small urban initiatives on a lot of the paperwork that we have, but all those practices are still available, every one of them is still available through equip, still under equip.
Now, is the minimum payment, I know once, years back, it was lower than what it was now, and finally they raised it, what the minimum payment was under equip,
That's under CSP,
Yeah.
Conservation Stewardship Program.
yeah, I will get, which I guess I should ask the question first. Can you include CSP practices in the equip plan?
This is how that worked out. You can.
Okay.
That's one of the changes this year. It went to all practices instead of enhancements on
Yeah.
CSP.
Okay,
So, it used to be, you needed to do the equip to get everything in order the way you needed to be.
right,
That's the way, and then apply for CSP. Now you can actually apply for CSP and put those practices in under CSP. Because first it used to be equip first,
correct,
then CSP. Now you can actually go to CSP and put those practices in that would address all those resource concerns that you needed. Because CSP look at the whole farm operation.
is that,
Equip, you can go track by track, field by field, address those concerns. But CSP address the whole operation. Anything that's in your name, it'll pull it up under that database, on the FSA database. And then so you have to address and look at everything on that site. But now you can complete everything on that site. When you couldn't, you used to would have to say, get your equip, and then you come back and sign CSP maybe a year or two later to get those points.
okay, and remember that's why I'm trying to get some good clarity
Okay.
and also with a couple of clients. So you make application for equip,
Mhm.
okay? And in the equip contract, we're gonna do hoop house, this says 2 acres, or even a half acre. You do hoop house, some micro irrigation, crop rotation, mulching, soil enhancement, whichever type of practices you use for that,
Right.
you're living with that, okay? And now, so the CSP practice and cover crop, use cover crop
Right.
example also, when I
Right.
do cover crop.
Yes, sir.
So instead of putting that wouldn't be in the equip contract as a CSP practice and payment on, you do a separate contract from
It'd be
equip.
total separate contracts.
So you can have 2 contracts.
That's correct.
That's what, that's
correct.
That's the answer, which at one time you weren't able to do.
Still can't double dip now. You can't do,
No.
still can't double dip, do 2 nutrient management, one on equip, one on CSP. You either got to pick which one of them you want. But
Right.
you can sign up for both programs at the same time.
Okay.
Equip now.
Right.
2026. You can sign it up and you can, CSP practices gonna be on the CSP, equip practices gonna be on the equip. But you can do the exact same practices under CSP and you can't equip now. That's the change. It used to be enhancements. You remember it used to be a
Right,
strictly
right,
enhancement.
right.
That's
You
the change.
came out of equip, then you had to be a different enhancement in
Right.
CSP. And that's what, so that should take place in 2026.
2026, that's correct.
Okay, that's what I'm really trying to get some clarity on now. And then the other is back to the whole payment. Of course, you know, you're talking about CSP payments in one way so much that, of course, on a micro-urban farm, it's different because you're not dealing with big acres.
Right.
And then, of course,
CSP is the only one that has the minimum.
right.
It used to be 1,500, now it's 4,000. Regardless of what size, regardless of what, you know, how much it is now. So $4,000 is the minimum payment now, per year, for
Right.
5 years. CSP.
Right. 5 years, minimum payment, $4,000 a year, even if it's a dog.
Right.
Okay, so
Well,
if it's the size of this room.
You gotta have a farm number, track number, so it's a farm. It's not a garden, it's a farm. Once they go there and get that farm number, track number, it's a farm. It's not a garden, so.
Yeah,
They're the ones that make that
Yeah,
decision.
that's right.
We actually talked about that some on that first place.
Right.
That's why we should the audience understand that, you know, in this whole process, and what he's talking about, because we're getting into, I was talking about loan payments and what you have to pay back, and then on the program side, that's not forever with FSA. But in this, when we started to talk about the 5 years, minimum payment, $4,000, and the people clearly understand what it represents in context as far as the program and stuff is concerned with NRCS.
That's
But
correct.
still, you gotta start with FSA.
Right, that's
So
correct.
we started with FSA this morning. So you got the farm number, I got my land the size of this room, I got a farm number. Now I qualify for NRCS. And I can go in and sign up for EQIP and CSP the same time. Where it used to be, it was only EQIP to start off and then enhancement.
Enhancement.
So now you can do it all at once in 2026.
Yes, sir.
So that's the thing.
That's correct. That's correct.
That was the part I need some real clarity on when you talk about that 4,000 minimum payment.
And that's still only on CSP. EQIP, you don't have that minimum payment on EQIP. Minimum payment is only on CSP.
Right, it's only on CSP.
Right.
And it's not putting CSP practices in EQIP.
Right.
So you have a individual contract, same time, same piece of land. The CSP contract cover all those programs on enhancement and things of that nature, soil nutrients, soil water management, and all that.
Right. Yep.
And then, of course, EQIP could be school house, micro irrigation system.
You can do it on the CSP now.
Huh?
You can do it on the CSP now. The hoop valves, the micro irrigation, the water lines, the irrigation water lines, you bring it from the hydrant or wherever your water source to the hoop valves, and then put your micro from that part on top of the road. So that's what I'm saying. Practices, we can actually do practices under CSP now.
Land level?
All practices. They got all the practices up.
So now it's a bundle.
They got rid of all the bundles. We don't have any bundles anymore, so no bundles, but you can do those practices under CSP. So what it boils down to, you can sign up for both at the same time.
Great.
So if you need some improvement, say if you go on the pasture ground, everything good, and they got a drainage come across, and then they got some gullies or some washing in there. They can turn around and put a drop pipe in, we can pay for that drop pipe to address that resource concern from washing, just on the pasture. They don't need anything else, or they may want some cross fencing, or they may want a water tank. You can actually do that under CSP. You used to have to do it under
EQIP, right.
So now you can actually address those resource concerns to make that CSP actual functioning and taking care of your resource concerns all at the same time. So you can put that drop pipe, get rid of your erosion, stop your erosion, do your cross fencing. When you do your cross fencing, you need your water tanks, because your water tanks, you gotta have water sources to all the places when you break them off.
So what's the benefit of doing both contracts when you can do all in one?
Well, I guess.
Well, no, let me ask that another way.
Okay.
What's the benefit of doing EQIP when I can just advise clients to sign up for the CSP and you get everything, all the benefits of what you would get at EQIP plus the minimum payment of $4,000?
Well, this is the key to this. It won't hurt them to sign up for both, because you know our funds are limited
Right,
on both programs.
right.
So, and then you may have some practices, depends on what you're looking at, that may not Because just think about it, the RPP, which is it ain't RPPP, it's RPP.
Is RPP or RPP?
R2P. Now RC is
RPP.
Regenerative Pilot Program.
Right.
They only have certain practices on the equipment you can sign up for. So you may not have all the practices that you need to address that resource concern if it's on the CSP and that pasture grant.
And that program is more facing regenerative ag.
Regenerative ag, soil health, things like that. On the equip. So you got different things on the equip that you're trying to address, depending on where you're trying to go on your operation. If you're looking at the soil part, or if you're looking at the health part for the soil, because you can also do soil health in pasture.
Right.
So you can have, it's a little bit more intensive soils that you have to go in and look at different soils. We do have some information that we're giving out, what soil tests, and what we're looking for in that soil test, not just your basic soil test, some of the chemistry in those soils and things like that, and then it also give you options of labs to go to get that report. So that's one thing. So, but you don't have that in CSP. So you may have some things that's only required in some of the equipment, especially the RPP, won't have every practice that equip offer under regular equip or under CSP. So so when you go into the office, you need to make sure this is what you're looking for. You need to know what you're looking for, what you're trying to address. Now, I'll tell you the good thing to do right now, all the farmers do in all counties across state of Arkansas, even though our cutoff is, you can sign up anytime. Start your process now, and that gives NRCS offers a time and an opportunity to go out and start looking at what resource concern that you have on that property before that next round comes of signing up. So you can start that conservation plan before the actual contracts or time for contracts to even start for 27. So that's what give you that opportunity. Then they can say, hey, this may work better on the CSP, may work better on the equip, or you're trying to address the same thing, you sign up for both of them. And whichever one you get. You do have payment limitation as well. Equip payment limitation, $40,000.
Right.
CSP, they bumped it up to $300,000 single, and then entity, I think it's $600,000. So partnership. There you go.
Okay. My next question. I know. I probably should have had a meeting with y'all.
But that's all right. That's really okay.
But I said this was a round table discussion.
Yeah, right.
Discussing with everybody now,
right.
But I think it's important, and not just for us as a resource agency, but as a benefit for us and other partnership agencies, State Department of Agriculture, particularly on food nutrition side areas of it. Because you're talking about healthy food supply, that's one. We're talking about best producers, that being two. And we're talking about good agricultural production practices, which is three. And all of this comes into play when we're talking about this urban agriculture initiative and small micro farms and the capacity of these small-scale farming operations to supply school districts as well as possible food pantries and things of that nature. So when I ask about the practices, and everything in relation to practices, I guess the only other question that I would have in relation to that, when they say, well, you can't stack contracts on one number, but it sounds like now that's been removed.
But you can't overlap the practice.
No, I understand the practice side, but I was saying just from a contract
perspective.
So, but at one time you couldn't have CSP contract and you got the equal contract at the same time.
Well, kind of sort of, it was just harder to get CSP. It was just harder to compete. That's the word, to compete for it. It wasn't that you couldn't get a CSP, it was just harder to compete. Because what it was, your point was going to be higher on the people that have already done, say, 20 practices and you've only done 10. So when they start ranking that CSP, they get credit for all 20 of those practices they've completed.
That they're previously
installed. So you could sign up for it, but the likelihood of getting funded was less. You still could have both, but you're gonna have people compete to beat you because they've done a whole lot more on their operation. So it wasn't that you couldn't sign up; it was that of being able to be funded.
Which made it safer on the equip side. versus CSP side,
Right, so,
which is more challenging.
there you go.
Okay, but now you can.
Now you can sign up both.
Yeah, you can do
Yeah,
both.
You can do both and practice it. We actually didn't offer many practices, most of them all enhancements
Right.
under CSP. Now, so that means you couldn't do many practices at all. They had very few. I think it was like maybe 10 or so, but it wasn't many at all under CSP. So now it's pretty much wide open on practices, and you don't have any enhancements, any bundles, as Ms. Dane spoke about earlier. So we don't have any of that anymore. So it's a change quite a bit. That's the reason I always tell the farmers and the producers to go into their local county office. That's the reason I like for my local county to be here, so they can put that face and then they can sit down with them. This, you got this, and this is what we can do under this program. This is what we can't do under this program. That local office is gonna have all that information. Now, I tell you what, I'm gonna give you a good example. Under the regenerative pilot program, the primary practices, conservation crop rotation, contour farming, which is a permanent, you can do a permanent crop, cover crop, drainage and water management, forest harvest management, forest stand improvement, irrigation water management, mulching, nutrient management, pest management, grazing management, residue and till management, and that could be no-till or reduced-till, and strip cropping. So that's pretty much your core practices. So it don't cover like your reservoir, and when you start going back to your big eastern Arkansas.
Right.
It don't even have the part where the cross fencing, but it do have pasture management where you can be able to put some of that under that, the system, under that system. So those are the primary practices that we're looking at under our PPP for EQIP. So that's the difference from that and CSP.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it just depends on what are you looking for, what are you targeting on your farm operation. So always go into that local farm in local office, so they can go out in the field. They always go to a field visit. So you may see some things that we may see different and say, okay, have you ever thought about this? You got this area over here that you got a problem. Have you ever thought about addressing this area? That's really so important to do a field visit and to get with your local office. Hard for me to do it at the state and me. I'm running around trying to get information out to everybody for the whole state. That's where we're gonna have all our local office. I'm gonna always refer back to our local office. You have any issues, have any problems, always let us know, state level, local level, so we can try to address it. Now, something that we did talk about, which are conservation districts. If it's some resource concerns that we cannot address or do not address currently, give it to conservation districts. They have an annual meeting, and that's how you go and address those that comes to the state, up to the state NRCS. And then if we need to add some practice or adjust some practices or things like that, that's how that come about. And that's that local led process. The local led go through the conservation district. So, just in case we don't have what you need to take care of your resource concern. We try, but we do miss some stuff.
Well, it's one of the things, I know you said from an agricultural perspective, but on NRCS, conservation, and of course, we're always publishing things, and conservation is beneficial for everybody. I mean, not just the producer, it's the producers that have to implement those practices, but the benefit of those practices is the average doesn't know. I don't care who you are, where you stay. It's also beneficial when you start, it's a very big part of good agriculture production practices as far as food, health, and safety. When I say good, healthy food,
Right.
you don't want to produce bad vegetables, things of that nature. And that ties back to, the urban micro farm initiative now. And it's going to be important that we are very clear, both from the producer's perspective and how important this is with what they're doing and dealing with getting that certification with the state to supply school districts in producing good healthy foods from good healthy soils, as well as those other practices and how important those are, everything from runoffs and, that from a conservation management.
That's the reason the partnership is so important. you know, in partnership with ALCDC, I mean, even our sister agency, FSA, we can't do it, NRCS can't do our job without our sister agency. So we have to work together, and our ultimate goal is to take care of producers. I mean, that's our goal. You know, FSA, NRCS, you know, it's all to take care of our customers on the ground. That's who we, and then the partners is almost impossible, because I imagine FSA short staff, NRCS, so our partners help us get this information out. And, you know, we appreciate y'all helping us, you know, and even inviting us to help, you know, to make sure that as things change.
Right.
Quite a few changes, so we appreciate y'all. Any other questions? Because I see Miss Jamie standing up.
Oh, my time.
Our time is over. NRCS time is over.
Okay.
So I'm trying to wrap it up.
Well, we can always come back with questions.
Yes, yeah, we will.
All right.
So, thank you so much, NRCS. Let's give him a hand. Next, we're gonna, ride by Doc here for rural development. And he's gonna come back and talk and incorporate the, technical assistance to heirs property with the housing grant and loan and, rural loan programs with rural development. So I'm gonna ask, Perry Hunter with Arkansas Department of Agriculture to present, program resources and technical. Let's give a hand. Well, when you say Department of Education or
Well, right now it's education, but soon to be Department of Ag.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
all right.
In transition.
In transition,
Yeah.
literally. All right, before I even begin to start to speak, I want to offer up a thank you to Mayor Dunbar for allowing us use. Definitely thank you to Ms. Jamie and Dr. King. And lastly, to the farmers that we have that are here with us, the ones that are virtual, thank you so much for the things that you do. A lot of those things go unseen. We benefit from what you guys do, but I want to say thank you from this position. So, my name is Perry Hunter. I am with the Arkansas Department of Education, soon to be Department of Ag. Now, what do we do with the Department of Education? Basically, our programs, our population is daycare centers, public schools, private schools, adult facilities, emergency shelters, after-school at-risk programs, summer programs, anything that has to do with nutrition services. That is what the Arkansas Department of Education currently does under child nutrition. So, what does that mean for farmers? Because none of those places are actually getting those products from farmers directly. We get them in other ways. They're already processed, they're already canned, they're already done something to before they get to us. My job here today is to let you guys know that with USDA funds that a lot of these programs have when it comes to their reimbursement, that reimbursement can actually be used to purchase those fruits and vegetables that small farmers or micro farmers are actually producing. So what that does, it offers up another revenue source for those small farmers or micro farmers. So the simple thing to do with that is to figure out, okay, where are the daycare centers? Where are the schools potentially that you can use? Where are the programs that you can actually market your farm to, your produce to, so that they know exactly where it is that they can get your goods, how much those goods cost, and how often you can get it to them. Now, at the last meeting that we had, a lot of the farmers didn't know that. Simply put, we're trying to put that information out there. It's been there for a while now, but I think it's important in this day and age that you're able to diversify where you're getting your income from. And believe me, you can take a rock and throw it and hit daycares and schools in any community. So it's important that the business approach from the micro farmer is to reach out to those locations. And the best way to do that is to develop some type of marketing, some type of flyer, getting out, doing what they used to do back in the day, you know, knocking on doors, seeing what's available. So the important, the last takeaway really that I want to leave with you guys today is that don't limit yourselves to just farmers markets. Those are great. Those are awesome. Knowing that any program that is receiving USDA reimbursement can utilize your goods and your services within their programs. All they really need is a valid invoice or a receipt that can track back to what was purchased, who it was purchased from, when it was purchased, and how much it cost. So, I know Miss Beth Moore, a lot of you guys are probably familiar with her, usually does this part. I was kind of her cohort last time we came out to this meeting, but I really just wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of the potential of the services that is out there, especially with those daycares and those other nutrition service programs that are sponsored by USDA.
Any questions online? Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
How does the Department of Education compare with the Department of Agriculture?
Okay, you see, we're talking maybe $60,000 difference in pay between my salary and somebody else's.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with that. Nutrition services or child nutrition came from DHS. We were originally with DHS up until the Learners Act was enacted a couple years back. From there, within that act, we moved to the Department of Education. So, Department of Education was separate from DHS, where we had all the private nonprofits operating, where ADE had all the public schools. Okay, so once we got under the same roof, we began to make that merger work, and then about 6 months ago, the decision was made to take us from Department of Ed to Agriculture. Now, with that, right now we're trying to get everything in place for July 1 for that to be the official time, the new state calendar that comes out. So basically, at this point, it's just transitioning us from one agency to the next. Because before it was two.
Maybe I can add something on to that. Arkansas has not had a State Department of Agriculture for a long time. Some years ago, I know our organization and some others who partnered and was really advocating for a Department of Agriculture for the state of Arkansas. Just maybe 15, 20 years ago, it has been that long now, so we have a Department of Agriculture. That's one. Two, all of the programs he talked about, when you start to talk about SNAP, food stamps, all that, it's in the Farm Bill. So all of that's funded through the Farm Bill itself. So from the agriculture perspective, and it's really the food supply, component that on the production side that deals with the supply area or the customer base area, be it individual customers under the SNAP program, or if it's under the Head Start program, food nutrition program, either one of those, all of that comes under the Farm Bill, USDA. Now, when you start to deal with and I'm not going to get into all of that, but then you get into the entitlement process and how it goes to the states, and then the state departmentalize how and where they deal with the administrative process of those funds and how it goes to the state. So in Arkansas, they had basically been been administered by the Department of Human Services, for all of the payment aspects of that tied back to Head Start programs. Even, and I used to be on the Department of Education, State Board of Education, even with now what used to be again a Head Start on the DHS, and then of course preschool, that eventually became the ABC portion of it, and then DHS started funding preschool under the Department of Education. So it's a lot of structural things, but it is very much so. It is tied back to local food supply, and I know it can be confusing. Like Mr. Hunter said, we're trying to get that out now more. We're targeting more with the Department of Agriculture and hope to get more people to the meeting. Head Start program people as well. Daycare service providers, Mayor, we need to have them at the meetings. We need to have the small producers at the meeting and those who can be small producers at the meetings to understand how these opportunities exist and what the resources are for implementing them from the USDA side and the farmers opportunity side, the getting farmers and even existing farmers and the other customer-based side with the different agencies. Because when I first started, I talked about the prosperity communities and communities working together and having a plan. We have these many farms over here. We know we have all these daycares over here, and then we have these farms and those who could be potential farmers producing these vegetable crops to supply this customer base. It's local economic development too, from that side. But I don't mean to cut you off, but I just want to say something that connects to all those resources come out of USDA anyway.
Yeah, well, and I guess I understand that, but I'm concerned about our public schools. And is there a farm to school program to help, local farmers provide fresh produce to the schools for serving?
Yes, and we do have, fresh fruits and vegetables, under our program. It's also under the commodities program. If everybody's familiar with commodities, that's USDA, ran foods and services. You remember government cheese back in the day, and those little silver, cans with the pig on it. They got a lot better cheese now. Those cheeses are coming from a lot of different other providers. So commodities is one of the biggest things that we have. So when we start looking at fresh fruits and vegetables, there is a program exactly geared toward that. Under our umbrella. So now, trying to merge that with the schools is getting that information. That's what the child nutrition side does day in and day out. It's trying to get that information, ensure that the schools are taking advantage of fresh fruits and vegetables, that it's available, and that those schools who are participating actually are part of it. Now, talk about participation within your city walls here in Lewisville. We could look at different things like we got summer coming up. Summer is happening mostly. The biggest thing with summer is having those meals served out of schools. But the cool thing is I think under our program is that we can help establish and develop community economic impact, where you're building small businesses, where those small businesses can actually take up a food service and operate and be able to serve in right here in this city. And so with that sponsor who is connected with Brother Billy to come out and say if he's delivering tomatoes or whatever produce, that's a direct line from that farmer to purchase for that food service program that is happening within this community. So that's kind of another way, as far as you start talking about the economic impact of what our programs can provide. Very little money to start it up. Of course, you gotta have money, you gotta be able to show that you're sustainable and able, but those reimbursements come back to the programs. based on the number of meals that are served. Now, how you go out to procure and secure those products that you need to produce those meals, I mean, the door is open.
Is there a model program in the state for farm to school that communities in rural parts of the state could
Oh, yeah,
use?
I can get you that. There's a number of different models that are out there that's being used, so I can get that information to you.
Yeah, I would appreciate it because, you know, our school is in distress, and if we can help our local farmers and our local schools at the same time, it's a win-win, I would think.
Right, so at this point, do your schools participate in after-school meal services?
After school,
After school,
we have no after-school programs.
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And then let's talk about, when school is out.
There's
Because
nothing.
most of there's nothing.
There's summer, there's nothing.
Do I have a summer
We don't
program?
have summer program running. We need to talk right now. We're talking about, we're in the midst of getting those programs established. And if we could meet with with you and definitely your school leaders, which is your principals and your superintendent and the board president to say, okay, this is what can be offered, in this area, you know, and right now, in Lafayette,
Yes.
so this is a rural county. So what that does for that meal service, especially for summer, you have more options. That first option is a grab and go. Most of our programs are congregate feeding, meaning they have to show up, you have to provide somewhere for them to sit, eat, congregate, and leave for summer. Now that we have the non-congregate food service option, you have more options to deliver food services. One is the grab and go, which is popular with programs who, you know, that takes away a lot of the overhead in getting those meals out. Those children can show up, they can get their meal, and they can go home. The second one is to have a parent pickup, which is a parent signs an attestation form for the family, however many children that you have, he or she, parent, can come in, get that meal, take that meal home. We have delivery service for non-congregate services, meaning that that same family could sign up to have meals delivered from the production area to their home. And then we have, the last one is bulk feeding. Bulk feeding would be a feeding option where up to 5 days can be placed in a box per child that can go home at one feeding service. So you imagine what that can do for your school as far as revenue, or as far as making sure that those children have that wraparound availability to meals from school to out of school time.
Yeah.
So we really, I got time.
Yeah, well, we need to set up a meeting maybe with the local school board and the superintendent and see how we can help our school and our community, because we don't have after-school programs, we don't have summer programs. That's one of the things that our nonprofit was trying to address, but, you know, you run into barriers, but the kids are the ones that suffer.
Are those programs available for Christian centers, like we have a Baptist center in Magnolia, and it's nonprofit, we just for the community, but it's a Baptist affiliated.
So are you asking if they could start a program?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The program is set up especially for summer for 501c3s, in religious entities. I believe that is 508s, 501s, for religious entities. But yes, if you have a church, it's just like we talked about the old days.
Right.
You know, when the church doors were literally open, where you got some meals, some services, and all of those different things. Churches are the cornerstone, at least at one point in time they were. I think it's time for us to bring that back.
What I'm hoping that we can really, get more on the table and more of an understanding of number one. think someone asked about that, on that bulk program, say enough food to serve for so many days. And then what the requirements are for that, say if there's 3 children in the household, and say nutritious, and we talk about healthy food, and vegetables, so if farmers could be able, if y'all be doing a match, I think a match program, how do you match the business enterprise back up with, and, you know, we're only speaking from the farm side of it, and so that people know that, one, those who are participating in these events, and you hear about USDA, the resources, how they offer those resources for those who want to participate in a local food supply program as it relates to nutrition. And then dealing with the school districts, we're talking about local-based type of economic development. You're talking about farm to table, you know, and to household type of initiatives. Building more of that capacity and capitalizing on the capacity that we already have. And the people understand the whole comprehensive approach, and that's what these partnerships are all about. Understanding the holistic aspect of it, the good agriculture production practices, healthy soil water management practices, how these foods are being produced, the program that you sign up for as a part of your small farm operation that's going to participate in these food supply networks, okay? The healthy food supply, good agriculture production practices, the NRCS program that supports that, you know, from healthy soils and practices involved, and then the financing for farm operators for farm operators to really benefit from that. And I'm gonna stop at this. I guess I get too over, you know, involved in both the conversation and talking about it. But man, what I would love to do with you and with the Department of Agriculture, you know, we've started this and with Beth and some of the others, and we can have a call about this. We can do some of this by Zoom, you know, to discuss it. Are you all? But I'm really encouraging you all to pursue this.
Well, yeah, I think it would be beneficial to our local farmers, to our children in the local communities.
That's
to
right.
the school district.
It would, and it's healthy food supply and local food supply.
Yeah.
And anything with any of the farmers and working back with USDA, you know, we can facilitate that process. We provide technical assistance and application sign up, the loan packaging for Farm Service Agency on that part, just the agency themselves. And, you know, we can come back in person to do the group meetings. We can do it by Zoom and just send the link out to the FSA local office folk. Miss Jamie does all that coordinating. I'm just running my mouth. I don't be doing it. Miss Jamie does all this work, y'all. But anyway, but to connect all those, you know who the farmers are, you know, we can have a Zoom meeting on that and then tie these other pieces back to the Department of Agriculture. I am really, I'm gonna tell you, this program and what he's talking about now, and they are rolling this out, the Department of Agriculture, and merging that from the Department of Education, I think there are some major opportunities. Major opportunities, both for the producers, it offers some opportunities for farm diversification, diversifying some of those farms, even if they're raising chickens, you know, do 3 or 4 acres over here, whichever, in those areas, but both from the urban and the, as they call it, USDA Urban Agriculture Initiative. And because you say urban, it don't mean you gotta be in Little Rock or other areas. It can be in Lewisville, it can be in Hope, you know, wherever. But smaller scale operation, starting with FSA, getting the farm number. So all of those that you can get in your local area and in the surrounding areas, when I talk about prosperity communities working together, know those farmers, how they can benefit from it. Those individuals, they'll be interested in becoming beginning small farmers to be a supplier to this network opportunity. that's out there, so.
I think that's good. I don't care about the other towns. I'm just kidding. But this would help, you know, like gardeners turning their garden into a farm by getting a farm number, providing whatever they produce, whether it be, you know, tomatoes or corn or whatever, to
Carrots.
the local school district, you know? So I think that would help both with the Farm Service Agency and with the needs in our community. I think we need an in-person meeting and we need to see, but I guess we gotta do all the preliminary work before.
Yeah. We can get it done, get it set up.
I can set it up with the local school district.
Well, the school districts and Department of Agriculture people on that side, they need to connect their dots, and that needs to happen, as you said, we're really rolling this out right now. And we're just trying to be, say, sort of, I won't say ahead of the game, but at least we want to be in the game, and we want to be partners in the game, with USDA, when they ask for how do we get into this, how can we expand, enhance our operation more of these small scale farmers, so we can supply more, produce more food to be a part of that market network. So, that's the reason we're trying to push it out more this way, and it's, I think the Department of Ag is doing a heck of a job now getting this out the gate. I just want to make sure that the customer base there, and those folks who've been calling gardeners, that they know they can be a farmer. One, they can be a farmer, and then as a farmer, once they get that farm number, they can get other resources for producing and operating that farm, and they may need to get small scale equipment and stuff, anything from a small tractor to tillers or whichever, you know, to add on a few more acres, and then the customer base, that they become suppliers back into this market opportunity network. I mean, somebody's gonna supply the market. When you can be a local supplier versus coming from out of state and other areas, and build your capacity more, to be a local supplier.
Is there a minimum acreage for a farm? If
No.
you're a
No.
gardener?
No,
So,
Kennard just,
No.
so if I've got, like Dr. King says, an area the size of this
Yes.
room, I'm just a gardener, but I can become a farmer by getting a farm number.
and a track number.
And-
Through FSA, start
Well,
with FSA.
all you do is start with this young lady right here.
Okay,
Start with FSA, they will establish you with a farm number and deal with what those requirements are. So we say it's important that, you know, begin that process immediately. That's why I started off with her this morning.
So where are you located today? Can you tell them where you're located?
We're located over in the,
Agriplex?
Agriplex,
Yeah.
yes.
Farm number and track number is two different, it's a
One
location.
farm, but you have a farm number and the track, you will have a track number.
But the track number is, I have a location in the, Friendship Community, farm number, but I have my garden at another location.
That's too.
Okay, well, you need a farm number on that. I mean, if you got just a lot of 2 lots of stuff, you don't have to deal with the tract number necessarily, but you have to have the farm description of the property.
We can put everything under one farm number,
Reconstitute it.
and if they're separate.
Be two
it
different
should just be
tracks.
Two separate.
Two different tracks, but one farm number.
Okay, I gotta get another track number.
What?
Look,
No,
you have
but
one
yeah.
farm number, but they can give you one farm
You
number.
combine the two,
Okay.
but it'll be that track number, track 1 and track 2 over on the other side, but one farm number.
One farm number.
Someone wants to know, can a nonprofit open a after-school program?
Absolutely.
That's the state.
Yes.
And if they want to talk for the people that are virtually, if you want to get in contact with me, my name is Perry Hunter. You can reach me at 501-320-8967 or at my email, perry.hunter@ade.arkansas.gov.
How would they get to where the information that you just shared with them? How would they get it on the web? How would they get to it? What would they-
Okay, so on the website, it will be the Arkansas Department of Education. Once you get to that website, you go to nutrition, and then you will see all of our information that has to do with all of our programming on the nutrition side. But I suggest that you call me so that we can walk through, because that website is pretty extensive.
Lots of information.
One last question I have.
At ade.arkansas, that's spelled out, .gov.
Yeah, one last question in this area. How does, this new bill that's reducing funding for, social benefits, how will that affect the funding available for these programs, or will it?
Okay, with nutrition, nutrition is a little bit different because all of those funds are already appropriated in Congress. It's pretty much gonna be there.
Through this year?
It's gonna be there through this year. I'm no congressman. Those funds will be there, after those years, unless something drastically change, for that. Because, that's part of the laws that we have, because all of our programs are governed by, CFRs, Code of Federal Regulations. So if those things are switched, which is only done by Congress, we'll have to see. Now, when you start talking state and how those monies have been decreased, it's just a trickle down effect. Some programs, when they lose that money on the voucher side or Better Beginning side, that means that those daycare centers are losing participants. And if they're losing participants, that cuts into the reimbursement that we already have that's solidified, because those monies are not gonna be released until some child is eating a nutritious meal.
You see, I asked that question because we're losing funding for our early childhood development centers in rural Arkansas. And we lost ours here in Lewisville last year, and that's happening in rural communities around the state, rural, not your urban communities.
Right. I mean, believe it or not, it's happening in urban as well. They just had a meeting not long ago.
Different though.
It's
Impact is different.
It's always different.
Yeah.
It's always different. Yeah, you
Huh?
know, in the bricks than it is. Forgive my language here. In sticks. It hits different. It really does, and I get it. You know, one is not better than the other. But what I'm saying, there are losses that comes, because guaranteed, if you're losing it in your area, they're losing it in those other areas as well. The problem is that there are a lot of other things surrounding the urban area where you can probably go pick up things.
Yeah.
But
Here you can't.
here you can't. That's the difference.
Yes. And that's all the difference for us.
Right.
Because
It's
we're poor here.
But what that does for us as a program is that whenever a program shuts down, that means that money is not being utilized, meaning that program is not able to submit claims to us to be reimbursed to USDA. So if we can't reimburse that money from USDA, guess what? The state is not getting that money. So when anything that has to do with child care or schools, when they shut down those areas for those children to consume those meals, that's when it will impact nutrition. Because we can't deal. The programs can't deal.
So you need surrogate programs like your nonprofits to step up and say, we'll do a feeding program or something, because the kids still need to eat. And just because the childhood development centers are closed, there are no summer, after school programs.
Exactly. Unfortunately, that is the reality that we're living in. And that's kind of what my job looks like now, is to reach out to those programs to see, will they be able to basically have a startup, a small business, because that's what it would be.
We need to talk.
I got you.
Okay, here.
I want to say one thing. I come from a household of wish I would've. Powerball comes on TV and you hear my dad over in the corner, I wish I would've bought it.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a cell phone right here. I don't pay the bill for it. I'll talk to you as often as you wanna talk, as long as you wanna talk. If you have land that is eligible, that you might wanna try to do something, and might wanna turn into something, call, come see me. We're here for everybody. We're here for y'all. Come in, come see us, talk to me on the phone. I'll come out, see what you got. Even if you don't want to sign up for a program, I can still come out and help you, advise you on how to run that farm, how to make that farm better.
Exactly.
So,
That's what we need to get out to our community.
That's right. Good.
call
But we
me,
all-
absolutely, call me, come see me, email me. Either way, you can find us, you can find all of our information online, and I do have some business cards if anybody here wants one.
What's your number?
So my cell phone number is 870-921-4206.
That's on your business card, correct?
Yes.
Did y'all get it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got cards for me, and then, y'all may know her, her name's Caitlin Malik, she's actually the DC, in here in Lewisville, she is actually my boss. You talk to her on the phone, tell her how much better looking I am. But, she can help you just as much, if not more than I can. So, you can call her, you can call the office, there'll be somebody there to answer the phone at all point in time during the day.
I think awareness and communication, David should get this out. There are a lot of people doing what they call community gardens, trying to meet a void, but they're doing it in different areas and
Yes.
it's disconnected and we still have gaps.
But we got the
Bring all
teams
this
meeting
together.
in Hope yesterday, and I got to talking with the lady that handles our payments. And just inside of Lafayette and Columbia County, since September, we've paid over $1 million worth of payments, just since September. So, we have that available.
Those farm numbers?
You come back and you can say, well, I wish a couple years down the road, I wish I would have done
Wish I
it.
had done it.
Or when I tell you that number, you're like, man, I wish I would have done that last year.
Yeah.
Come see me.
You'll provide a number, I mean, a name or?
Kelly Tomlin.
Yeah, that's good. I people prepared for lack of knowledge.
That's right.
Yeah. We don't know about it and
Don't know.
we don't get served.
That's right. Like a knowledge.
I mean, I want to say, I really, really appreciate you because what's really important in this process is that what's here today, the resource agencies and these opportunities, that it is in your office and, and having this partnership and getting it out to other individuals. We said, well, we got a lot of community gardens in this area. But see, most of those community gardens don't know that they can get a farm number.
Right.
And sign up for CSP and get a minimum payment of $4,000 a year based on them getting a contract on that farm number. But you can't do it if you don't have a farm number, if you don't sign up for the program. And so most of them don't know that. If
You
they
don't
have,
have the information you have, that you're hearing here today. That's very important. It's the information, the knowledge, resources,
And-
benefits.
and that the crops that they produce on that, you get the volume and all together particularly, like you're talking about the different programs supplying, and knowing what crops that they can be producing, and then they can supply the summer program, if it's tomatoes, if it's lettuce, if it's whichever, if it's carrots, say these are things we know we can have as a part of our nutrition program, and that they can supply those individuals with, and you know that you're gonna reimburse them for all of those purchases they made from the farm.
Well, that's not how that part of it works. The reimbursement comes from the meals that are consumed. But in order for them to consume the meals, they have to purchase the product. So when
Okay.
in a sense, the farmer would get paid by the purchaser.
Right,
And then the purchaser would turn around and get reimbursed
by you,
by us.
Right.
By what they serve.
right.
So I grow my bologna and and sell the sandwiches.
Where you grew up? What is
I know a lot about farms. but I don't know.
Start the garden now. May not have it left out there. Okay, you what, okay.
Let me make a statement. For NRC side, Kelly did a good job on explaining, but also remember when y'all start filling those applications out, if you don't understand something, make sure you ask.
Yes.
Let me tell you the reason why, because as I'm listening to you talking about your community garden, I'm assuming you probably run a water hose and water your, take some kind of out there water. And there's some question on there that said, do you have irrigation history? And you may say, no, I don't have no irrigation out there. But if you've been watering with your water hose, you've been watering or taking it in a bucket, that's irrigation history.
That's right.
So if it's something on that application you do not understand, please ask our NRC's office. And they'll be more than happy to help you and guide you through that. So it's just all about some of the stuff you don't understand. And it actually, if you say no on that question, that you don't have irrigation, you wouldn't be eligible for micro irrigation because you don't have irrigation history.
Yes.
You wouldn't be eligible for some of the irrigation pipeline, things like that. So just be, if you don't understand, and let everybody else know, if they don't understand something, please ask, our local office on those forms and those applications. Don't assume, because sometimes assuming can cost you at the same time.
They can ask you the leading question, well, how do you water?
Well,
Carry water out of the.
Well, I mean, right now, some very creative ways out there that people do water, because I do know some people are actually catching rainwater in these 260-gallon total tanks, and they watering out of it. They don't actually have a well right there or something like that, but they're actually catching the tote water, holding that tote water and watering their gardens there, because we have some in Pulaski County, different places up and across the state. And it's very innovative of some ways they're irrigating now, and it's still irrigation history. So how that
Most practical way though is I carry a bucket of water. I didn't know that was irrigation, okay,
Well,
now I know.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I did that as a kid.
I did.
We all
We
did.
all did.
That was one of my worst experiences I had.
Yeah.
I drove the truck down the field too fast and I lost the water. My grandma sent me back up there to get some more when it was heavy, and she made me walk back that time. So that's a learning. And we had a metal cup that we had to put a cup of water in each one of the holes, and she packed it, planted seeds.
I can't believe you remember that.
I'm just telling you that.
It's big and can't get it.
So some of them life lessons, that was a life lesson. You slow down if you get the opportunity to drive with a bucket of water in the bag compared to going down there and you have to walk back and get it, pump the water and get it and take it back to the field. So I'm just letting you know, when you start going to the office, just make sure if you don't understand something, let us know. And I know some people, even the one thing I'll let you know, micro irrigation systems, very efficient. A lot of times I've had a couple customers to tell me that they hooked it up to their water hydrants at the house and their water bill didn't change. That's how efficient they are. So that's watering your irrigation, in your hoop houses. So that's just what a couple of producers told me. So that's people are like, well, I don't want to hook it to my house because it might run the water bill up. But for me personally, I haven't done that, but I'm just said a couple of producers told me that, so I'm just letting you know. So,
And it does not cost you anything to call me, to have me come out.
that's right.
We're not gonna send you a check or a bill later down the road saying, you owe me money for coming out to your farm and looking at it.
All our services are free,
Mhm.
and then, even any work we do, that's the other thing I meant to tell you. He's a technician, and then we have a district conservation, but we also have we have engineers, we have foresters. I mean, we have everybody that can address the issue or need that you have if they don't have it in the office. They call somebody at the state office, area office, or even from some of the other offices to actually help and assist. So whatever issue or problem you may have, we can help you. And it does not cost anything. All our programs are voluntary. They're not mandatory. We're not a regulatory agency or anything like that. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, we're the same way. You have all of your expertise from people who work the applications to the actual dietitians that can put together your menus depending on the way that you want to go. All of that stuff is in-house, and it's all free. No cost to call us up and say, I need you here, let's have a talk, have a discussion. No problem, schedule.
All right. not cutting you off, Doc, but I was just letting you know we were running, you know, to that time. And it has really been, a wonderful, connection with Arkansas Department of Agriculture here. I have learned so much that I didn't even know myself. I worked with, USDA for 32 years, and I had no connection with the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. But anyway, Doc, I'm gonna let you take over, and after you do, I'll just, you know, close out, or you can close out, it doesn't make me any difference, I can have a seat. You know, I'm broke down anyway, so I'm not, no rush to get that bill.
Well, let me, say this to the audience and again to the mayor, we really appreciate, you know, your hosting and partnering, with the Senior Department of Agriculture, USDA, and, offering us this opportunity to be here. That's the first part, being able to connect in the local community. I'm supposed to talk about the housing program, and what rural development has to offer USDA, which is a lot. And there are some things with USDA rural development, I know we get a lot of calls to our office now, and where people are saying exactly, you know, how are the offices operating now within the context of structure and the resources. One, the resources are still there, rural development is still there. They do still have the housing program. One is the 504 program, and of course the 504 program is the housing rehab program. That's both a grant and a loan. You can get a loan up to $40,000, 1% interest rate to deal with rehabbing an existing home, and a $10,000 grant that's under the 504 program with USDA rural development. And of course, those are direct program services from USDA rural development. We work with individuals and families through that process. I have a housing person, Miss Ashley Crockett. She's not here today. She's filling in for me at another meeting with Federal Home Loan Bank, which is an affordable housing program that they have. So she's filling in for me there at that meeting. So that's one of the programs, the 504. The other program is the 502 program for housing, rural housing. That's a on the direct loan side. Now the numbers have changed back and forth. At one time, the maximum loan rate, and of course this is driven by income. You know, so eligibility, one of the first areas you have to fall into a certain income category. I don't have that chart with me. Now I know the chart has changed. I'll say for one person in a household, I think it may be $30,000+ as the maximum. Don't quote me on that, but you can pull that up online.
It's per county, isn't it?
Yeah, and it changes by county. So there's a list that shows, like you can look at Lafayette County and see what the affordable housing income levels are for USDA rural development, for the USDA rural development program. And of course, again, that's a subsidized housing program to create affordability, both on the direct loans, on the direct loan side. Interest rates are definitely lower than what the banks' interest rates are. The other side, now their direct loan program come in, again, two categories, direct, and then they have the guarantee loan as well. Just as FSA has the guarantee loan side. Rural Development has the guarantee loan program working back with banks. That means the bank is the customer from USDA Rural Development. You're the customer with the bank, and the bank can guarantee, the Rural Development can guarantee up to 90% of that loan. So that adds some added security for the bank when they make the loan out to you as the customer. At one time, and it may be more now, it may be less, at one time, I know the maximum loan level was roughly $367,000, which was the maximum loan, as an affordable loan to build a new home. The direct 502 is for a new house. The 504 is for an existing house, home with USDA rural development. Challenges and barriers, and I'm just gonna sort of merge this in, but we work with a number of them. In a lot of cases, we're running into situations where the need exists for housing rehab, but it involves air property. You have a family member or sibling may still be staying at the home site. They've been there for the past 30 years, 40 years or so. As that next generation, but the house needs some rehab work on it. They've been trying to maintain it back and forth, one another, one that's living there. And although the other sibling may say, oh, we have to find out that's their house. Oh, well, no, that's their house, their property, because we're not coming back and we don't live in the area anyway. It's well, fine and good. If it's air property, undivided interest, and it has not been deeded over to that one individual, that air property is not going to qualify for the 504 program. Neither the grant nor the loan side. But again, that 504 up to $50,000 combination of loan and grant for that particular program. Rural Development offers other programs also. You know, they have the business enterprise loan program as well as their grant program, you know, for that. They have community facilities, loan and grants. That's for municipalities, in most cases, out there, if there's a need, if it's dealing with the community center, it may be for fire department, things of that nature. All of that falls under USDA rural development, community facility. Nonprofits can qualify for those also on the community facility side. The business enterprise loan side, again, basically all of those programs are handled from the state office. Normally, the state office would work with individuals, either municipalities, community-based organizations, or individuals, if it's about a business enterprise, with the business enterprise loan grant program on that. In a lot of cases also, the enterprise grant program can go through a city that's working with an existing business, and say it's going to be an expansion of that business operation. If it's going to be an expansion of that business operation with job creation, economic impact, then if the city apply and know that this expansion and the economic impact is going to have for that particular business enterprise, then that's a partnership merger, working with the city, working with USDA rural development, and working with that private sector business. In certain cases, it has been where there may be a grant and may be building a new facility for a business expansion. Normally, as I understand it, I was in the program in previous years, when that occurs, there has to be a guarantee that when that facility is finished or the renovation or whatever is being done on it, a guarantee if it's going through the city that that business enterprise is going to be located in that particular building or that facility as a part of an economic growth plan for the particular city or municipality. Infrastructure also, same thing. Water sewer systems, that falls under USDA rural development, both the loan program and the grant program that they have. Now, I must say that when you're dealing with the loan and grant program and the eligibility basis, it does have to do with the economic status of those particular communities. In other words, what the average household or income is for a certain area, I would say an underserved community area. The average household income is a determining factor on how much one area a community may receive in the way of a grant versus loan, or if they eligible to qualify at all for any of the grant program under the community facility or under the infrastructure portions of the program. They also have technology grants, they have cooperative grants under USDA rule of development. In other words, you have an actual cooperative. They have both the loan and the grant program. In some cases, farmers come together to create a cooperative. It's production cooperative, maybe a marketing cooperative. Again, these programs operate in the state, they're not in the local county offices, but the state office has all the details in relation to how those programs work, the availability of them, and how they're implemented back out to the public. We work with individuals primarily in the housing area, both the grant 504 as well as the 502 side of the program. And of course, your local bank will work with you on the guarantee side. I'm going to stop it at that again. Rural development has a lot to offer. Fiber optic financing, the technology financing all falls under that. And again, that's back when I said the prosperity planning, community planning from a prosperity zone perspective, or prosperity communities. When you're planning from prosperity communities, county seat may have 3 other small towns around the county seat, and say we're going to have a prosperity community committee to look at all the farmers within the context of this county that produce vegetables. We want to meet with them, the prosperity community individuals, and look at what our capacity is in local food supply for our local schools that we have in the county. That could be one thing. And then you develop a plan around it, and we look at these other need factors and the knowledge base of those particular farmers that's participating in that and the surrounding communities and towns as a part of that prosperity community, putting that plan together. And then the same thing would apply back to other needs within the whole county. It may be from an infrastructure perspective, what the county needs are, and you're dealing with the county seat, say Lafayette and other surrounding smaller communities and towns, what you need to look at from an infrastructure perspective, water system, sewer system, modification changes, upgrades, and things of that nature. That becomes a part of that prosperity community plan. And then, of course, moving from that, then you come back to the table the next time, once you start developing that with USDA Rural Development, USDA Farm Service Agency, and Department of Agriculture, to talk about how you need those resources and get that plan implemented. And I'm going to stop right now and let Ms. Williams close us out.
Okay, thank you, Doc, and thank you all as well. As we come to the close today, today's Regional Community Economic Development Workshop, I would like to take a moment to thank the mayor for allowing us to come in your city. And your staff was so grateful. We are so grateful to have them to make sure that we had lunch today. And I appreciate you be sure to tell them how thankful we are to taking the time, just to show us a good time here. And your presence, you shows a strong commitment of agriculture, land stewardship, and the continued growth of our rural communities. Workshops like this are so important because they bring us together, the farmers, landowners, community leaders, and resource partners to share the knowledge and rebuild the relationship and explore new opportunities. We would like to extend a special thanks to our presenters, partners who shared valuable information here today. We sincerely appreciate the participation and support from the representatives of USDA Farm Service Agency, USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, and the Arkansas Department of Agriculture. Your programs and services have played a vital role in helping farmers succeed and strengthening rural communities across Arkansas. And again, thank you, and you have a safe trip back home. God bless you.
One thing, I didn't introduce, Miss Henry back here, she's on our city council, and
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
she's been